All right, we're live. What an action packed month May was. A lot going on. I'm going to go through all the numbers from what we've been doing at Treasure as a community, abroad in all of our activations, how the tech's being used, and a repositioning in how we want to present Treasure in order to increase revenue. So let's dive in. I've got this document here that I am going to share in the Discord so you can go through it at your own pace. But if we look at the numbers, revenue was down about 56% this month. We did $6,629. Oof. Only 354 of that from the e-commerce store, the rest of it from agency. A big part of that is a lot of our e-commerce and bulk wholesale comes from me calling people and getting them to do stuff. And I was hyper focused on delivering all of these activations that we're going to go through. And so I didn't have the time to be on those sales calls like I normally would have. We had to fulfill all of the bulk orders and activations that had already been paid for in months prior. And so, this presents a little bit of a problem where we can't be kneecapped just because I can't be on a sales call. So I'm going to be presenting a repositioning of how I want to start pitching Treasure. Andrew and I, you as the community, I think that flipping Treasure in this way that I'll get to in a second, and targeting these high ticket activations now that we've had so many successful testimonials that we can use in a pitch deck is going to be the right move. It's going to allow us to get past that 15,000 a month plateau and really clear that hurdle rate so that we can start adding more Treasure to the bonus pool every single month. We did throw 600,000 Treasure into the bonus pool this month, but that was from the treasury. We did not do a buyback. And again, that's just because we're not clearing the hurdle rate right now as we, basically retool the platform, zero base our accounting, get rid of all these erroneous expenses, try to merge all these SaaS products that have been daisy chained together, and replace it with some of this new stuff that is AI driven and a little bit more effective, a little less costly. All of these things are part of a two-step back so that we can take a step forward and eventually take two steps forward and one step back. There's a really good Alex Hormozy video that I'll share into the Discord that talks about how when you get to a certain level in your business and you've really proven out a use case through a prototype, sometimes the fastest way to scale beyond that prototype is to strip back down to the baseboards and rebuild from the floor up. And essentially that's what we're doing in Treasure. It's an uncomfortable time in any business, but I feel very confident in the team that we have. Andrew and I, constantly thinking about this, and really a lot of the valuable feedback that we're getting from people that are doing these activations on what worked, what could have made them more valuable, and how we can start to engage some of these activations and high ticket revenue items before we even have the new platform done, because I'm tired of the waiting on dev's narrative. So I'm going to present to you some new positioning and options that allows us to sell some of these higher dollar packages while we build out the tech to support them in the background based on what's already built. So I'll get into that in a bit. Let's look at the numbers. Circulating Treasure has gone down. Mostly that's because we burned a bunch of Treasure. And you can see this is insane. 64.5% increase in burned Treasure. We went from 13.78% burned at the end of April to now almost 23% of the Treasure supply has been burned. This is DeFi done right, and kudos to everybody in the community who has helped us get to this point. I mean, it would be amazing to burn half the Treasure supply as we run into the Treasure supply cap, and then just have the Treasure token run like a meme coin, like a utility coin, like a project that deserves to be a household name, because these buybacks will start to become so interesting once we have hit the supply cap. Total Treasure staked, dropped a little bit because, again, we're burning treasure and moving it into the Pearl keys, which we'll get to in a bit. Treasure in the JLP actually went up because there is a slight advantage for the handful of players that are playing that lever right now in the bonus pool. Key rewards pool dropped 7.3%. So if we're dropping this much per month, that's roughly 10 million. So does that mean that we have 14 months left, or as more and more people up-level their keys, will we continue to grow the amount of treasure that's being awarded in the key rewards pool? Regardless, sometime in the next 6 to 12 months is likely when we hit supply cap, depending on how quickly we mint out the rest of the keys. But you can see there's 145 million treasure up for grabs in the key rewards pool. And obviously taking that and staking it for VE treasure is an interesting strategy than locking that into some Pearl keys. The contract has 759,000 treasure in it. It's because some people haven't been claiming their bonus pool rewards from last month. And we minted 62 new keys in the month of May, or up to May 5th. Had one new key holder. Highest key level remains at 150. And cumulative key level increased 2.1%. Total VE treasure is up almost 20%, and these are two new metrics that Gribbly put into treasureterminal.com, which is, of course, where you can always, with a 5-minute lag, see all of the latest stats for treasure. Big shout out to Gribbly he added all the new Pearl Key VE treasure stuff, within hours of it launching. So really appreciate him being so attentive to that. Let's talk about the top creators in the e-commerce store. Not a ton of sales on these. I included a couple of these people just because they had placed big orders the month before and we did big activations with them. Kok Inu, Satley, which is, we'll talk about that activation in a bit, Cock Media, Sore Thumb Collective, Dokies, Another Space Odyssey, Soltech, Moonwake Forge, and MadTech. These will be on the Treasure homepage by the end of the day tomorrow, because I want to make sure that we highlight them, and we'll also do a tweet about them as well. Again, not a lot of sales on these, really about even across the board, but still, these people are driving traction in the platform, and some of that is on us. Like in the new platform that I want to present, a big part of what Andrew is helping us build on the back end that will ultimately come to fruition in a really meaningful way is this journey of influence, helping these creators figure out where they are on their journey of influence, backfill all of the pieces that are going to allow them to have a strong foundation to push off against, and then help them grow into international brands. That's where we want to take the platform, and we will get there. It's just a matter of dialing in the vision with the actual tech delivery. And again, we had a successful prototype, as we'll see with these activations. We have a product that we can sell a high ticket activation around right now as it exists. Kudos to Mikkel, the dev team, Andrew, everybody for helping us get to this place. But we're having to strip some of that back down to the baseboards and rebuild back up in order to be able to take into account what some of these larger clients and agencies want. Ultimately, that means that we can do much larger activations with much more detailed analytics, which is much more meaningful to an agency, which means that we can engage with music festivals, film festivals, large conferences and events. We can do some of that now, but with the new platform, it's going to be much more impactful. So with that said, let's get into some of the activations that we did in May. We had a lot of them. All of them really cool. Again, you can go into this document and click through to all these tweets if you want to spend a little bit more time with them. But the biggest thing that May proved is we're sitting on something that has demand. People love engaging with the tech. They love seeing our products on the timeline. This is a great way to bridge the digital into the physical and vice versa. And so it's just a matter of shifting this from, making a few dollars per t-shirt to instead charging the way an agency would charge for an event activation. And that's that higher ticket positioning that once I go through these activations, I'll go through the entire new positioning document so that you can see how we're going to take what's working in these activations and supercharge it into our sales process to bring in more revenue. Okay. So, first activation was Another Space Odyssey, who we have formed a tight partnership with as we help them find a distribution network IRL through all of these different card shops, through their merchandise line, through the physical activation of the comic book, and by helping them design activation campaigns around all of these different comic conferences. A lot of what I'm saying is redacted right now, but they are going to be a key case study for us as we build out the new version of this platform. And these guys are dialed in. Their IP is so strong. So, Day one at Summit, I was wearing an ASO shirt, one of my new favorites, and anybody that found me with that got one of 8 ASO NFTs. Really kind of bare bones campaign, but it was a way for me to talk about ASO with people in the community, get them engaged, and this is the type of thing that if you had 100 people doing this would be pretty impactful. And that's one of the things that we want to make sure there are missions for, where if I'm an NFT project or if I'm a large brand and I want 100 people talking about me at a conference, I should be able to send them all a t-shirt, turn them into an instant brand ambassador, and have aligned incentives for driving behavior and conversations that are going to be beneficial to my brand. This was a very small, but still meaningful way for us to get the ASO brand out there a little bit. Next up was Cock Quarterly Magazine. Man, this was really cool. This was a magazine, a physical magazine that the Cock Media team did. We played a small but meaningful role in helping produce the physical magazine. And let me see if I can find the, here at the end. So when we were at Summit, Emin, who is the head of Ava Labs and basically the CEO of Avalanche, had his keynote. John Nahas, which is the chief marketing officer of Avalanche, went on stage to introduce Emin for the keynote. This is the most attended event at the Avalanche Summit in London. And what he says, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it in the microphone, but you can see him on stage here.
The boss.
He's basically holding up the CQ magazine that TRESR printed. There's TRESR advertising all through this thing. There's a whole spread and interview with me in the magazine. And the entire Ava Labs team is talking about how this is what showcases what community is on Avalanche. Really cool moment for the Cock Media team, for the Cockanu token, and of course for TRESR for being featured in the magazine and helping bring that to life. So I highly encourage you click through the flip book. Let's just go through it right now because it's super cool. So you can flip through it like this. It's got kind of some chill vibes here, but I'll turn it down for the video. Dano is such a rock star, the editor of this. Got to hang out with him quite a bit in London. I've hung out with Wex and Mikkel, and they really did such a good job with this magazine. And the fact that we got to be featured in it, and that all of our merchandise is throughout. This was obviously an activation that we did last year, 420. This is the full spread on TRESR. And again, all the top high-profile people at the conference got this magazine. A bunch of cool spotlights, our merchandise throughout here. This was just such a pro. The digital is awesome, but having the physical and having so many of these out in the wild. Here's a Wex with people. I mean, it just showcased that the Cockanu community is really strong. This is the set of all that can pop out and put all over the poster. Wex's NFT collection, but really great showcase for us on these kind of alternative physical activations where we can help people move their digital brand where you could go. Let me turn the music off. Where you could go into the gaming center at Avalanche, and they had a fully working like Street Fighter style game. This project just launched like a month and a half ago. They already have a working PS5 game where you could play the steady NFT characters and battle against them, and like do secret moves where it pulls out a golf club and you hit a drive at the other person. You're like swatting somebody with a grill spatula. Anybody that demoed this game got one of these cards, and the digital twin, if you claim that, will give you access to additional characters in the PS5 game. Really cool activation here, and the Croce guys have been great supporters of TRESR ever since for a long time. We also did a whole new series of AVAX cards with Ava Labs and the Avalanche team. So we obviously had our series 1 that went live in Argentina last November. Now in London, we did series 2, a whole new set of characters, a whole new set of cards. This time we did a golden ticket activation where there were 3 golden tickets hidden in the cards. And so 3 random people claimed that golden ticket, and they won a PS5 and a whole prize package. And then they posted that on Twitter, which was a really cool use of these cards. And then you can see these 3 events that we've done a specific card for, Avalanche in London obviously being the one that we just did in May. Yeah, really cool use of the trading card technology, and obviously super thankful for the Ava Labs team for continuing to include us. Next up, Gribbly and the Cockanu team did 69 of these custom shirts. I'm actually wearing one right now. And again, this was just a unique way for them to reward the community that showed up IRL. We can see that Gribbly, well, I'll show you in a minute, the airdrop that Gribbly did to the Vanya AVAX card. And so will these Keep Calm and Hodl Cock shirts, if you claim your digital twin, have future utility? We don't know, but this is one thing that with the existing tech stack, we want to be doing more of, is airdropping to people who claim those digital twins. So make sure that you've got all your digital twins claimed, because we've got point systems, activations, airdrops that are going to be connected to those in the future. All right, let me take a drink and wipe my nose because I'm starting to sweat. Texas humidity, y'all. All right, next up in London, we had this cool Satley beta. They did we helped them with their ice cream social by giving them these NFC and QR connected shirts that showcased their beta. So Satley, if you go to satley.com, you can sign up for this. Really cool way that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin by email. And all of this is built on an Avalanche L1. You can earn Bitpoints when you do this. Really interesting product. They had a great side party as well. And so another successful activation with the NFC shirts. I smuggled all of these shirts and NFC tags into London. Fortunately, I did not get held at customs, and it was a simple route through the airport. All right. I am listed in the CQ magazine as the official producer for the Cockumentary. And while we figure out what this documentary is that's being executive produced by Cock Media, I hooked up with an amazing community member, Mason. He goes by AVAX NFTs. You can read through this whole thread. But this guy is such a pro. You can see we had, I don't know, like 5 cameras here, all these lights. This is us interviewing Grenville from the Chicken and Cockanu community, one of our top supporters in TRESR. Got to meet his entire family. Really cool to connect with him there. But this room that we're in is they basically called it the media room. It was a room in the castle that we were at Hayfield House. And Ava Labs gave us this room to do interviews with all the top Avalanche projects. So I got to sit down, talk to a lot of project leads, obviously even though we were talking to them about Cocking You, I got to seed them the treasure narrative as well and just get to know them, which who knows where that leads in the future, but getting FaceTime with these type of people is always really nice. And so I was appreciative to Cock Media for the opportunity to get that FaceTime, and really appreciative to Mason, the camera guy, for being such a pro. I mean, it made us look like a top-notch production. And then finally, something that I kind of I'm really playing around with the idea of vibe marketing. You know, we haven't been able to do a lot of it in NF Treasure, and I'll get into that in a little bit, and how we are correcting for that. But this was kind of a propaganda piece that I put together and just kind of vibe marketed together using some AI tools. Really, the idea came because my girlfriend and I were having lunch at this cafe, and when we went to our car, there was this, actually I have it right here, this weird piece of propaganda that was on our car that just says baby muffins, baby rolls. Like this is the ramblings of a crazy person, all about the Illuminati and how they're tracking you and that they're eating babies. Anyhow, very crazy piece of propaganda, not really a real call to action there, but it was so interesting to me, and I spent so much time talking to ChatGPT about, is there a hidden message in this or something, that I thought, oh, wouldn't it be interesting to test some just really basic propaganda messaging and see if it performed better than our really, high-end trading cards that we were doing. So I took all these vintage photographs I had AI swap out all the faces with Nicolas Cage, and then I created these 6 flyers that had this kind of techno mystic propaganda on how you needed to imbue your creativity into these artifacts and create a scan ritual. And all of this led to a survey funnel where people could put their project name in and their email. Anyhow, you can go through this whole tweet and read through what some of these are. You can see some of the survey funnel here. But this was a really low dollar activation. All told, this cost. So if you look, I printed these Nicolas Cage vintage photographs onto a Polaroid, numbered them. There's an NFC chip in the Polaroid, and when you scanned it, it took you to this survey funnel. You can click through this tweet and read some of the propaganda, but because this was so weird, it had a really high engagement rate, and there's some kind of a lesson in there, because even though I only handed out 72 flyers, 71 of them were scanned, which is almost 100% scan rate. 41% completed the funnel by answering all of the questions so that we collected that survey data. And then 18.3% actually submitted contact info. And 2 of those are pretty high profile projects that I'm now talking to about the treasure agency working with them. So for $300, this was a really successful campaign. Also just a lot of fun, like a fun way for me to get some creativity out. And really, in the platform that we're building, as I imagine it, I really want to empower people to be able to create weird campaigns like this that has clear analytics so you can see what's working. This picture of Nicolas Cage is hilarious. Okay, so you can go through that. You can read all of that. That was a fun thing that we did, but just an interesting use of the tech outside of the higher end merchandise that we're doing. Then across the planet in Canada, while we're all in London, Tristan over at iHodl Life was a speaker at the Futurist Conference, and he basically had a Master Key shirt that we made for him. He's wearing it right here, where anybody that came to the event and scanned his shirt got a POAP, a proof of attendance NFT. And, who knows what he'll do in the future, but now he has those wallet addresses that he could airdrop to that if he wanted to. Anyhow, this was a really cool conference. Here he is on stage, and obviously highlighting iHodl as a brand that's building into the treasure ecosystem was meaningful. iHodl has consistently been one of our top sellers in the store, so big shout out to Tristan for that activation. Next up, Grivly and the Vanya Lasagna airdrop. This was a really cool one. So We had this card from the AVAX Series 1 that we did back in Buenos Aires. You can see it here. So Vanya is the brand manager at Avalabs, arguably one of the nicest and kindest people at Avalabs. She has seeded us into all of their different events and really helped us out a lot. So the Arena, which is a social platform on Avalanche, basically has a new token launch mechanism. Gribbly, there's kind of an Italian-themed token meta that's happening right now. So Gribbly, one of the founders of Cockanu, on a whim, launches this token called Vanya Lasagna. It immediately bonds and runs to like a $3 million market cap. Well, because it's based on Vanya, and because Vanya has the card, and because Gribbly is such a good supporter of TRESR, he, on his own, pulled the wallet list of everybody that had a Vanya card, and then airdropped a Vanya token airdrop to those card holders. If you had one of those cards... Do I have one? I thought I had one on my desk, but I guess I don't. I do have one somewhere. So I got this airdrop. I'll never sell it. I'm holding it to 0 or 100,000. But at the time of the airdrop, this airdrop was worth like $700. So anybody who had claimed this card basically got to cash out for $700. Really cool activation, really cool use of our tech. I want to document how he did this so that other projects can do this, because the ultimate goal of TRESR is, hey, we have 100,000 NFT chips, 100,000 degens out in the wild. Do you want to activate them in some way? We can airdrop directly to all of their wallets. We can airdrop to anybody who scanned certain NFTs. This is a really cool way to engage the TRESR community and all of the communities on TRESR. And so, as you'll see in the repositioning, I want to reposition around us as a platform to turn your merchandise into a vending machine for rewards, while brands can use all of this merchandise to run marketing campaigns through. Really appreciative to Gribbly for everything that he's done for TRESR. Had so many great conversations with him while I was in London. Great to see these people IRL, and yeah, Gribbly is a huge supporter of TRESR. Much love to him. Next up, Van Eck. If you don't know Van Eck, let me just... I encourage everybody to go and Google Van Eck. They're one of the oldest fund managers in the whole world. They run a Bitcoin ETF. They run a gold ETF. I think they're launching an AVAX ETF, or they just registered for one. So we have we did this series of gold digger hats for Van Eck. This was an activation they did. You can see Van Eck embroidered on the back here. This was an activation they did where if you went into one of their Portals games and mined for digital gold, you could click a mouse for like 16 hours and win one of these hats. These hats were going for like $1,200 on the secondary market on Solana, I believe. But if you had one of these hats and you scanned when this tweet came out, you could have won one of 5 invitations. It doesn't even say what it is here, so I'm giving you redacted information. But Van Eck is going to be ringing the NASDAQ bell at the New York Stock Exchange on June 23rd. And if you had one of these hats and scanned it and were one of the first people to do it, you got an invite, a special invite to be one of like 300 people on the platform for the bell ringing. Nobody gets to do this, and this was such a cool prize to give out. So kudos to Van Eck. This is one of those tier 1 partners that we're in a lot of conversations about how to design this new platform in a way that's going to allow them to do much larger activations in the future. Okay, so those are all the IRL activations. Man, what a month. Highest activation month ever, but it took a lot of my bandwidth to get all of these done. And so we need to dial in our automations, but in the meantime, we can sell these activations. Now that I understand the enthusiasm and we're getting really good at producing these activations in a timely manner, all the tech on the back end to support them is there. We can sell this as a high-ticket product, and I'll get into that a little bit later in the video. Let me dab my sweat again. and take a drink, and we'll talk about the Pearl Key update that happened. So, if you haven't been around, the community voted on snapshot.org to allow people to burn their staked treasure into Pearl Keys. And so every Pearl Key now has the ability to capture voting escrow. This massively reduces the sell pressure from all the people that have treasure staked, because in order for them to not have to worry about losing their voting escrow, they can now burn that treasure in exchange for having that voting escrow be a part of their Pearl Keys, and then they can trade those Pearl Keys around as much as they want. Because of this, we've had, I think now it's almost 7% of the treasure supply has been burned in like the last 48 hours. 22% of total supply burned. This is crazy. And likely much more to come, because I know that there's a lot of people who have said that they're going to be doing this but haven't done it yet. Excuse me. So I will link to this snapshot vote in case you did not have a chance to read that or vote in it. But if you go into the game and the DeFi game here, in order to, well, let me switch to a wallet that actually has some keys in it. So on any of your Pearl Keys now, you can just click this lock VE treasure, and you can max out your VE treasure and burn your treasure into it. And anyhow, all your rewards will stay the same. You can move your VE treasure from wallet to wallet, so there's a security benefit to this as well. And there is a video on YouTube that I will link to. Let me just do it right now so that we don't forget. And this video on YouTube goes into a full tutorial about how all of this works. So if you didn't get a chance to watch that, be sure to do it. Here it is right here. That voting escrow. And I will pop that in right here. Hopefully you're watching this on 2x, so I'm not wasting too much of your time. So what are all these activations? What is the new Pearl Key stuff? Well, you know, one of the ways that I was pitching Treasure at Avalanche Summit is we're really trying to take all the mechanisms of DeFi and move them into the real world. Treasure isn't just a platform, it's a protocol for making and capturing memories. And this month, I think, proved that community brands, big sponsors, indie creators, global VCs, all of these people did an activation with us, and they benefit from the same thing, which is our scan to connect marketing that, you know, makes physical presence matter again. Like, it moves all of this kinetic energy that lives in these digital communities and directs it into the real world. We haven't been able to fully crack the nut on that and capitalize on that and put the right reward structure around it, but I promise you we're going to. It's going to be wildly beneficial, and this is going to be a multi-million-dollar a year business just by making this positioning shift that I'm about to highlight. I firmly believe that, because when I talk to the people that I used to work with at Google, at Saatchi and Saatchi LA, at GSD&M, they all want to do activations like this. They just need proper analytics and metrics and these certain things dialed in on the back end to be able to support this, so that they can run a campaign at Coachella or Lollapalooza or ACL, you know, these big film festivals like South by Southwest. We have to stop thinking small. We have to stop thinking about how do we sell a $42 t-shirt. That will come in time. That's an easier thing for us to figure out as we dial in the platform. But what we need right now, because we are in somewhat of a cash crunch, our dev team is limited by how much revenue we have coming in every single month. So the more revenue that comes in every single month, the faster we can move. The less revenue, we have to ratchet down the number of hours that we can have the dev team working. So that's fine. We're gonna little engine our way to things. I think I can. That's what we're doing. We are going to get to the end goal. We will capture the carrot. It's going to be glorious when it happens. The timeline is the uncertain thing, and that's what creates some of the uncomfortable discomfort that we're in when it comes to reimagining the platform, but it is just temporary. We will get there. We will figure all of this out. And the way that I feel is the best way for us to ratchet up revenue in the short term is to move from print on demand focus, which is kind of what we launched the new site for. Let's see if we can get a bunch of creators to start creating and put whatever the current mimetic design is, and maybe we can get some traction that way. That was a failed experiment. Our e-commerce revenue this month showcases that's not going to work. I do actually think that can still have legs, but only once it's supported by the proper gamification, which I'll talk about in a second. We need to move in the short term from print on demand to high ticket activations. One of my old business coaches, clearly I didn't heed this advice, but now I'm going to, used to talk about how when you have a startup, and I've probably shared this before because this is pretty common knowledge, especially in Silicon Valley, but when you have a startup, it's infinitely harder to hit a home run in the B2C space than it is the B2B space. You almost always want to find a high ticket, which means a high dollar value offering that you can have early on in a startup, because it's actually the best use of your sales team's resources to go and lock in these $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 deals, kind of like the one we did with Avalanche in Argentina, because it takes the same amount of time to lock a $1,000 deal as it does a $50,000 deal. And sometimes the caliber of partners that you're dealing with at the $50,000 level are actually easier to sell because they know exactly what they need and they're not so tight on their purse strings. We've been really trying to figure out this B2C side, and I do think that we'll be able to crack that nut, like I said. However, we need to move faster, and so I am suggesting a major positioning shift from print on demand being the focus. If we go to TRESR.com right now, we can see this is all about print on demand. Start creating. Okay, well, this is not driving revenue. So what do we do in the entrepreneurial world when something is not working? We pull ourselves up by the bootstrap and we try something else. High ticket activations are where we need to put our focus. And this is a positioning document that I want everyone to go through. It's rather long, so I don't think I'm going to go through the whole thing now, but maybe I'll end up doing it. But basically, the idea is repositioning the TRESR homepage where the community marketplace is a subset of this larger aspirational pitch, which is turning every shirt, card, or poster into a marketing engine. And the core pitch is that TRESR isn't a merch company. It's a scan to connect engagement engine that blends NFC tech, creative expression, and community incentives into real-world brand campaigns. Whether you're a solo creator or a global brand, TRESR helps you activate fans, capture leads, and build real momentum in the physical world. Again, it's about taking all that kinetic energy that lives in the internet, moving it into the real world and driving real world behavior. We build activations that drive measurable outcomes. This is what the new platform has to be designed around. That's how much foot traffic did your campaign do? How much fan engagement? How much email capture? We need to start asking permission to capture email when you capture the NFC. And what kind of user-generated content were we able to create? This is going to be the first thing in the new platform that I want us to focus on. And we can do a manual version of this in the activations that I want to start pitching this month. But the idea is that if you get this Cock and You t-shirt at Summit, there needs to be an incentive for you to take a picture of yourself and post about it on the Twitter timeline. When somebody does an activation with TRESR, the Twitter timeline should be flooded with pictures of them in their gear. It should be flooded with testimonials of people doing selfie videos because we've aligned the incentives properly. All of this is powered by smart artifacts and gamified experiences. This is what all of these tier 1 partners want. They're paying $500 to $5,000 per video for user-generated content. We need to become a user-generated content agency that uses the Internet of Things in order to supercharge how we create this content, because that's the $1 billion. That's the biggest opportunity for what we can do. And everything else seeds up to that. And the high ticket activation offers that we can do are these sponsor driven airdrop campaigns. So taking what Gribbly did and supercharging that. Again, you can read through all of this. I don't want to go through all of it, but maybe I'll read the imagine this for each one. So imagine you walk into a side event at ETH Denver wearing a meme shirt. You scan it and boom, you're entered in to win a PS5. And the brand captures your wallet plus email, but you get points or additional incentives or additional raffle tickets for posting about it on Twitter and asking or sending it to 5 friends who then ask you where you got it. That's the viral IRL marketing that we need to be creating. We can do basically these kind of scavenger hunt type things. You get a character card when checking in at a Web3 conference. There's 20 others to find, one at each sponsor booth. You collect all the cards by scanning each one, and if you complete the set on chain, you get entered to win a trip to Tokyo, which is the next conference. And so because of this activation, you now just walk the whole show floor, and sponsors love this. It makes event sponsor packages more valuable. They can charge more money. It's a win-win for everybody around. Guerrilla takeover kits. During the day, a brand passes out 500 t-shirts, with something like not sponsored slogans on it, all NFC connected. Attendees are told, wear this to Karate Combat tonight, scan it there, and get entered to win a $5,000 prize package. And you get triple entries into this prize package content if you tag the brand on Twitter. By that evening, Karate Combat, it costs tens of thousands of dollars to get your logo on the Karate Combat floor. But by that evening, there's an event of only 1,000 people. 200 of those people are wearing your brand logo into the event, all wearing these matching shirts, creating what is the most visible brand moment of the entire week. This is the power of what we can and should be doing at TRESR, and that's why I want to reposition to making the focus these activations, because people aren't getting it. They see us as a merch company. They only get it once they experience an actual activation, because we're not selling it on the website properly. UGC missions plus social momentum. Imagine this, you scan your artifact and land on a mission page. It says post a selfie in your merch at the venue, tag our brand plus my side quest. You do it, the brand gets free exposure, you get 1,000 points and entered to win some kind of a crypto airdrop. Community members start chasing the social clout and prize pools, and this extends your event half-life. Whatever activation you're doing on the event now lives longer because you can continue to engage all of these people. This is what we have to be, and this is what we're going to be. This is what the entire platform that we're building is going to empower. And so all the print-on-demand stuff can be subsets of these campaigns, but the big thing needs to be, how do we sell $25,000 campaigns to brands who want to activate in this way? All right, sponsor community activation. ETH Denver sponsors a 1,000 scan quest with TRESR. Every creator who sold NFC shirts on our platform, so this is anybody who's ever bought something on our platform or sold something on our platform, basically gets a ping or an email, because we need to start collecting email addresses from everybody. Do you want to join this activation? Each creator will get this message. If they say yes, then this activation goes as a mission to those shirts. And now if I scan my sleeve here, I can scan and unlock crypto events or crypto rewards. And if I tag the event by talking about it, by sharing about the event, I either get affiliate commissions or I earn money. I win loot boxes. And these events get all this buzz, and this is physical world retargeting. Think about how much money these social networks are making by running retargeting advertising. What if we can do that in the real world? We can, and we should be. We should own the advertising meta layer of the Internet of Things. That's what TRESR should be. And it pains me that we're not there yet, but we will get there, because I'm not going to give up until this is actualized in this way, till the vision matches the technology, and we are seen as the digital layer that lives across physical reality. All right. And then we need to reframe how we're talking about the keys. We need to just talk about it the way that you would do an investor pitch. The TRESR key and DeFi game is an investor pitch. Andrew and I are still working out what some of this language should be, but it's basically, stake into the future of experiential marketing. You get a key, you upgrade it, you're going to be able to capture all of the kinetic energy and value that we're creating in the platform. So you don't just bet on brands, you own a piece of the infrastructure that powers them. Every activation using TRESR, every scan, airdrop, UGC post, that captures some kind of value, either through agencies paying us or people buying the shirts because they want to be a part of the campaign because they want to get those airdrops. As brands scale using TRESR tech, your TRESR key keeps unlocking real rewards. It's like holding equity in the future of brand engagement. Don't quote me on that. Need to run it by legal. And then all of that points down into the marketplace layer. So this is the layer that we already have where we want people to keep uploading designs. We want people to be building their creator brands, but we need to do a better job of giving scaffolding for how do you grow from uploading one t-shirt design to having a brand that people actually care about, that can and should be gamified. And all of this is what Andrew and I have been calling the journey of influence. So do I have this journey of influence somewhere? Yeah. So I'll link to this. This is something that, excuse me, I'm sweating. This is the creator brand journey of influence. This is philosophically how Andrew and I are thinking about baking this gamification and this transformation into the TRESR platform. So I will go ahead and link this here and you can peruse that on your own time because there is a lot there. But the idea is that we have these 3 stages: early stage, growth stage, and breakout stage. When we meet with a client or a partner or a community member, we want them to be able to self-identify where they live on, where is it? On this map here. And by knowing where they live on this map, there's all of this information that we can present gamification and restructure the platform. So if you answer a survey and it turns out that you're at level 4 here, the entire TRESR backend should reposition itself based on what you need to build out at this stage. That's where we're heading. We want to be an incubator for creator brands and teach people how to build IP. And so Another Space Odyssey is one of several projects that we're working with to place them on this map, figure out what are all the things that they need at that place in their journey in order to continue to level up until they get to this legacy stewardship international brand. And it should basically be a gamified experience where it's a paint by numbers type thing. Okay, you just uploaded your first design, great. Here are the next 10 things you need to do to move to the next level. You're going to get points for completing each one. Great, you completed those 10 things. Here are the next 10 things that you need to do. And if you paint by numbers, if you follow the steps in the TRESR Creator platform, you will become an international brand. That's the idea behind this. And as we prove this out over time and bake this into the platform, and again, it's going to happen when it's going to happen, but it will happen because I'm passionate about bringing this into the world. This is going to be an incredible mechanism for any YouTuber, any Instagrammer, anybody with a following on Twitter to come in and actually build a business around the influence that they have. This doesn't exist right now. People are winging it. People are buying $1,000 courses every month to try to figure out, how do I monetize my influence? We want to gamify that experience and tie it into the Internet of Things. That's what TRESR needs to be, and that's what the journey of influence is all about. And that's what supercharges the community marketplace. Yeah, I don't think I need to say anything more, but the idea is that we create a closed loop ecosystem that encapsulates everything that I've spoken about in this video. Creators grow brands, brands launch campaigns, campaigns reward fans, fans generate content, content drives more exposure, revenue flows back to creators and investors. This is the flywheel that TRESR needs to become. And we're not there right now. we made our best attempt with the last platform. There's a lot of things that were right with it and a lot of things that just didn't scale well. And so we're stripping down to the baseboards and we're going to build back and we're going to make this happen. And we're going to put our focus on these high dollar activations so that we can move faster, so that we can bring in revenue, so that we can start doing the treasure buybacks. And we're going to become a household name. I don't have any other way to say it. That is going to happen. That I will see it through till the end until we have something like this that we can celebrate together. But right now, as I wrote in Discord, we can't even clear our $15,000 a month hurdle rate. This is so vexing. So fine. Andrew and I are spinning up our other businesses to be able to support this. Anytime we fall behind this number, Andrew and I pay for it. That's fine. We'll continue to do that. We will speed and slow developer engagement as we have to. And, you know, the more keys we sell, the more people buy from the OTC, the more that you share out your favorite designs to people so that people buy stuff from the e-commerce store, the more that you can refer projects into us to be a part of one of these activations, or even just refer them into us for I'll put my CMO hat on, Andrew will put his COO hat on. You know, there's all kinds of ways that we can help projects outside of just merchandise activations. But you being the brand ambassadors for TRESR and referring people in, setting up group chats so that I can talk to people and feel out what they need is a really valuable way for us to continue moving forward. Yeah, Andrew is pretty much solely focused on platform rebuild. He's taken a lot of this off of my plate so that I can focus on revenue generating activities, and that's what I'm doing. Andrew plus the new dev team are rebuilding both the front end and back end based on everything that I just said. We tried to automate everything. I mean, it really just bottlenecked. Like I can't even send out commissions right now. So commissions are going to be a manual process. If you're one of the creators that sold something, DM me. I'm going to reach out to you. We'll get it figured out. We'll solve this in a new iteration of the tech. Incredibly vexing that we're at that place. And also, I've talked to so many consultants. I've watched so many Alex Hormozy videos. This is what happens when you hit your prototype ceiling. And we hit our prototype ceiling, fine. So what do you do at that point? Every good consultant says strip back down to the bones, rebuild based on what works, cut out all the technical debt. So that's what we'll do. We turned off all of our old credit cards, and the reason for this is called zero-based accounting. Over 4 years, we daisy chained so many different products together to give us analytics, to help us with the coding side, to help us implement different features from like 4 different dev teams. It was very hard to know which of these things we're even using anymore. And so I just cut off all the credit cards. And when an email comes in that says, hey, you need to pay for this, I'm like, oh, didn't even realize that was there. So some of that's on me for not keeping better track of all those different monthly fees that we're doing, but we are drastically cutting costs. If something happens to shut off in the platform, it might be because of this, and we'll get it flipped on, once we get that notification. A lot of our tech can be replaced with these new AI systems that just didn't exist a year ago as well. Vibe coding and vibe marketing is just getting to an insane place right now. And we need a developer sandbox so that we can further decentralize, so that people can build apps on top of our NFC tech, so that when agencies come to us, we can say, look at all of these apps and playbooks that people have created for our tech, and people can just point to that. And if you developed a really powerful NFC tech that connects the Internet of Things in a meaningful way, and an agency uses that, then you're just like the Apple App Store. You're going to be able to sell that for whatever price tag you want to put on it. This is going to be a really cool ecosystem when it all comes together, and we're just going to keep chugging along until it happens. All right. I'm simplifying commissions for now. We only had a handful of people that sold something in the store. So if for some reason you made a sale in April or May and you have not gotten an airdrop of your commission, ping me and I will do it manually to make sure that you get it. Andrew and I did do the first community AMA in a while. Probably worth watching. That YouTube video recording is here. It talks a little bit more about this model shift, although I think I gave more clarity in this video than we did in the call, because we have more clarity now. Yeah, but it might be interesting to listen about how we're thinking about like this TRESR OS layer, this operating system of these are all the base level functions of the NFC chip and the tech platform that allows this sandbox that I'm talking about to tap into it. We added the 600,000 from the treasury into the bonus rewards pool. Your Pearl keys can now burn treasure to capture VE treasure. Big shout out to Mikkel for doing that upgrade. That was a complicated upgrade, and Mikkel is always a trooper for helping us figure that stuff out. I talked about the new investor-facing narrative. This is just some language that I'm experimenting with. We'll figure out how to nail it, but we're going to mint out the rest of these keys. Whether Andrew and I buy them all, or somebody else does, it will happen. And I want to we have people that are interested in buying these keys, but we have a terrible pitch right now because nobody wants to play this game. You know, these are major investors. They just want to buy into the project. So we're going to find some way to have like a managed option where we manage them for them and they can just pay into the project and own these keys and have the rewards connected to it. We'll figure it out. If you have a good idea, let us know. So I guess that's my rant in my video. Hopefully this was, I don't know, informative, entertaining. If anything, you're seeing me sweat like a pig over here. What are the calls to action? A good community member is buying gear from the store. They're uploading designs and getting people to buy that gear. You're burning treasure into your Pearl keys to capture that voting escrow, and you're minting those Pearl keys because it speeds development. You're sharing all your favorite designs from the store. You're going into the store. You're clicking on the shop here. You're sorting by either most views or recent. And when you see a recent new design, there's a bunch of cool new ones up here that you like. Share it out, buy it, support your community members. If you're owed a commission, be sure to DM me. I'm going to try to reach out to everybody I know, but there's a handful of you that are anon. So if you want to stay anon, that's fine. Create a Proton Mail account and email me at johnray@nftreasure.com. Watch the AMA if you missed it. Send this video to somebody who needs to hear it. Read this positioning document. If you want to know the nitty-gritty details of that, you can highlight and comment on anything that you want in this document. If you have feedback, mint those Pearl keys. Click this link to buy treasure from the OTC. This again also speeds development and help us land our next activation. Share this video with somebody. Share some of these tweets of different activations that we've done with the projects that you're close with, and let's see if we can drum up some of these higher ticket activations. There's a lot of cool stuff that we can do. I'm happy to get on a call with anyone. Hey, I really appreciate you watching this video so long. I guess one accounting and housekeeping note. I paid for the trip to London on my own dime. TRESR didn't pay for that. I wasn't wasting treasury resources on that. So just want to make that clear. In the future, obviously, it would be nice if the project could pay for that. But I went with my girlfriend and we met with so many great community members. It was an awesome time, but that was on my own dime. So that did not suck away from our developer budget at all. Anyhow, that's the update. We'll see what June brings us. A lot of really exciting things in the pipeline, and read that old children's book, Little Engine That Could, because I think I can. We're making our way up the mountain, and we're going to get there. I appreciate all y'all. Bye.